I love the blue-nosed reindeer. He knows the way to lovely goals. All of the content creators talk pet roulette and let him go. Then one shiny Premier League, Desi came to say, Tijani, with your gold so bright, save my game week, it is shite. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. I am very technology challenged over the next day or so. So I'm recording this, but I hope to God I can get it up if I can get online sometime today. Fair bit to get through. Where to begin? Tijani, my blue-nosed reindeer. I'm a Man United supporter. This game compromises my emotions so much. What a player. What a player. Had my coin toss between Anderson, who also did very well. Has to be said, very much on my radar. Have we got two 5.5 million enablers that enables us to go to Haaland, or go to Salah, or go to both? Don't know. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, Tijani, absolutely magnificent. And I don't even mind a bit of pep roulette if he keeps doing that and is even rotated. 1 in 5 or something like that, because you just never know. He could have end up on the bench next week. This is, we're talking, Pep. We don't know. We don't know. Anyway, thank you to Gianni. Absolutely magnificent. What a player. One gutting thing, obviously, that he didn't get any bloody bonus points because of that. Is it the yellow card? Whatever. It is what it is. Okay, let's get into this, folks. Yeah, it was a very frustrating and enjoyable game week. These out of the way. It's a bit noisy. Hopefully none of that noise, background noise, is coming through here. Yeah, it's hard to know where to start. This might be a slightly messy video. I'm having to try and pull this together in a difficult situation. Let's probably easiest just to go through the team and where I'm at the moment. I took a swing and I missed, and it was a case of so near but yet so far ultimately. So you can see that I'm currently sitting on 64 points. I still have one player to go because as I said, I did do the bench boost. That was my swing. Came very close to very close to hitting, but unfortunately I lost a double clean sheet with the last kick of a game. What can I say? Having players on the pitch right up to the death if you can, because that's where the goals are scored, and we saw that right across the weekend. Late goals. Liverpool been probably a really good example of it. 2-0 up, and then last 30 minutes, goals flying in all over the place. That's where we're at. Still got a little bit of a chance of, I guess, catching my 70-point average. Let's run it through on the spreadsheet. That's where it makes a bit more sense, I think, and I can talk directly to some of the games. Right, let's bring this one up first. I'm going to have to be bouncing back and forth a bit here between things, but hopefully this is nice and clear for you guys. Let's bring it up so I can see it larger here. Let's start at the top with Sanchez. Lovely. Yeah, very happy with that, obviously. 7 points. Thank you. As I say, I look for an average of 4 points for my keeper. Sanchez averaged just under 4 points last year, so to come with a 7 points straight away, great. So that goes into the average column. So I work with the real averages now. The average of 7 is 7. I did have one of my subscribers this morning sent me an email asking for some how exactly does it work, who have sent a copy of the spreadsheet to so they can use it themselves. So at the moment, Sanchez 0.7, and he now has an average of 7. Milenkovic, that was disappointing. Forest cruising. And it's like I said, the amount of goals that go in those last 5, 10, 15 minutes, or right on the death. So just the 2 points. So that would have been a very nice 6. It would have moved me nicely towards my 70. But not to be. And that's the thing. Daft penalty. Anyway, again, is what it is. Frimpong, that has got to be the most disappointing one of the. I do make these predictions, don't I? And I wish I didn't sometimes, but said, Frimpong, just so long as he stays on for the 60 and goes off with his clean sheet, I'll be happy. But of course, he went 13 seconds. 13, as I saw the board go up, I said, walk slowly, please walk slowly, please walk slowly, please. He's walking too fast. Yeah, 13 seconds and 5 points down the drain. Listen, I know I will talk about my what might have beens, and I'm sure you guys have got 100 million what might have beens as well. This is just the nature of the game. This is why I play the averages. And Frimpong for me may well be a sell just based on that one thing. Not this week. I'll talk about what I'm doing this week shortly. But yeah, it was an absolute gutter. Just by the way, it was Friday. Yeah, Friday. I was actually in the bar and watching the game, and it was just two. It was literally just two of us in the bar, me and a German guy, and he was a Liverpool supporter, and I had to chew my tongue off when there was that handball incident, and it should have the player should have told. I can't remember who handled it, um, which stopped one of the Liverpool lads going through from midfield, and it was definitely played at the ball with his hand, and the VAR did barely checked it, and I had to bite my tongue to say not say the 40 Towers line. Come on, you know the one. Don't make me say it. We're supposed to be PC on here, but we must not mention the VAR. Anyway. That was one story from the weekend. There are more. Porro, yeah, Grant, yeah. Listen, uh, it's 6 points. Should have gone for Van de Ven. Yeah, maybe, but the little disappointment I think with Porro, he wasn't on as he didn't. I thought he was going to be on most of the set pieces, but he seemed to be sharing quite a lot of them. So that does weaken his value a wee bit. But for now, Grant, 6 points, so he's on his average. But overall. Overall, as I say, I like 5 points as an average out of defenders. This is early days. It doesn't matter. And as I said, I'm probably going to wildcard in 4, I think, maybe 5. Talk about that another time. Like I say, that's part of that overall strategy, taking the big swings in these first 2 or 3, and then seeing the patterns, seeing who are the DEFCON guys, etc., etc. But Porro, at 6 million, I think there is may even at this stage be better value players emerging, which we'll come to shortly. But absolutely take the 6 for now. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 points out of my 3 defenders. Ain't good when I look for an average of 5. The 7 from Sanchez, I guess, bumps up the overall defensive unit. If you said I'd like to get 19 points out of it, then it's not a million miles off the mark. Not a million miles off the mark, I guess. Midfield, however, was wholly disappointing. Palmer. I'm not going to have much patience with Palmer this time around. I had a lot of patience with him the running last year, and as I say, the spreadsheet rules. If he's not doing the job, he's out. And quite frankly, he could be out as quickly as game week 3. He'll get West Ham. That's about it, I think, because the position that he's been played in, he's not effective. He looked great pre-season and in the Club World Cup because he was playing out on the right, his favourite position. He's got himself and Cucurella practically crowding each other out on the left. It's not his spot. I do not understand why he has been played there and what the tactic behind it is. It is not working. He is not effective there, and basically Cucurella and himself, they're actually getting in each other's way, and Cucurella's dragging players into Parma's space. Don't get it. And he ain't going to be worth 10.5 million if that's the way he's going to play. And I'll be ruthless there. He will be gone very, very, very quickly because there's a lot of money there that could be used for much, much, much better purposes. I'm sure we're going to talk about that one a lot. Verts, listen, I think a lot of people be disappointed with Verts. I did toy with going Gapco instead of Verts. Certainly one. I think this guy is still going to be class, and at 8.5 million, it will. We'll just see how that develops. But as I say, rules of the spreadsheet. If he's doesn't return, I look for 3 returns in 5. If that looks as though that is not going to happen fairly quickly, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. He'll be gone. He'll be gone on the wild card. Johnson. Oh, look at the end of the day, it feels like the right decision. I don't have to smash an egg into my face. So he did start. He got his goal. Great. So that was great in that respect. But Kudos, I think, actually did ultimately do better than him. And the thing for me now is, I think I really can see what's going to be going on here. Johnson will not be playing, I don't think, against City. I think that's where Thomas Frank is going to go back to the same system that he played against PSG, and then in the easier fixtures, so say like a Bournemouth and a West Ham, I think that's where Johnson will get his starts. I suspect we will not see Johnson on the pitch against City. But it actually doesn't matter. We'll get to that. We'll get to that shortly. And I think those of you that follow me regularly know where I am going. I have stated it as a tactic back to Plan A a while back. Saka, not so flash. Uh, Not so flash. He had a couple of chances towards the end. I thought United played very well. With my United hat on. Um, Need a goalkeeper. I've been saying it for 12 months now. We can't. We're not going to finish above mid-table unless we get a goalkeeper. But was it a more entertaining watch? Did Cunha and Mbomo look like they're going to really go well for us? And although we didn't get a goal, but I think we really deserved to win the match. I think it was a penalty. I don't think it was a foul on Bayindir for the goal. I think that's just United's usual can't defend a corner thing. That's one of the reasons I brought Saka in early, despite some difficult fixtures, because I felt United could be got out from set pieces, and as I say, yeah, and they could, and they only took one, and I think Arsenal really troubled us much from there, and we should have easily taken something out of the game, but we didn't, and Saka didn't either. Is what it is. Still got faith in Saka. Saka will basically average 7 points. Uh, when as I fill the spreadsheet out, that will get to a 7 point average, which is fundamentally, that 6 or 7 point average is what I want to try and achieve out of my midfield. Forwards nearly got there thanks to Ekitike with his 11-pointer. I expressed doubts about João Pedro, and the only reason I had him in was because of the high ownership. But where would I have gone if I hadn't had João? It probably would have been Mateta, or yeah, it would have been Mateta I'd have had in, and he didn't go so good either. So nothing, no regrets there on the decision as such, except concerns about obviously his minutes going forward. But as I say, he's likely to be wild carded out unless something dramatic happens here when I do the wild card in 4 or 5. So all of that adds up to 53, which is an average of 53. It excludes captaincy. Obviously, I had a massive captaincy failure. And then if you add the captaincy onto that, and what I've got from the bench boost so far, I'm currently sitting on 64. It's not great, but I know there's a lot of you out there going, "Oh my God, I only got 30 points. I only got 35 points. I only got 40 points." I wouldn't be beating yourselves up at the moment. The game week 1 means literally nothing. I'm coming out swinging because I do like to try and, it's just what I do. It's what I do. I'm not even suggesting anyone follows me down this path. But this is what I do. I like to come out swinging the first few game weeks, take some big punts, and then settle into the spreadsheet after game week 4 or 5. And then when I've got some data, and just play these averages out across the season. And certainly last year that worked on a level once I sort of settled into the rhythm of it. But who can I send you to give you comfort? Go to FPL Harry. FPL Harry is a content provider that I probably rate above all others, to be honest with you. I think he's finished in the top 5,000 the last 6 years in a row, and he's had a disaster. Much worse than some of the scores I can see in our FPL Don't Panic League. Honestly, there's a lot of it out there. We're seeing these 80s, 90s, and 100s. I could have easily been there myself if I hadn't lost the 10 points on the last kick of the game off of my bench boost, and if Frimpong hadn't come off 13 seconds too early, that was like 15 points there. So what's that? 64, 74. Okay, no, yeah, that, and I've got Tarkowski still to come. Could have been hitting towards an 80 at the moment. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that I scrape my 70 average, which, as you all know by now, is what I look to achieve. Not a lot more to say about that. You can see game week 2 there. I am free hitting. That was always the strategy. I wavered a little bit when I was on 44 points, and I still had Palmer, Saka, Zhao, and Tarkowski. I still effectively had the equivalent of 7 players to come after after Saturday, Friday and Saturday's matches. I was on 44 points, and I had the equivalent of 7 players to come. And I thought, oh, this could get really, really good. When I say the equivalent, so I had 6 players, and one of them was my captain. So the equivalent of 7 players. And I thought this could get really, really tasty. And then on yesterday, it was like a slow crawl just to get to 64, and it was painful. Um, and actually, on the Saturday, I was actually in this downstairs bar in Bahola, and the technology didn't work. Doesn't seem like a lot of technology is working here at the moment, to be honest with you. But the 2 lads behind the bar were absolute FPL nuts, so we did have a great crack, and we were all actually ticking along really nicely. So it was a really fun day, but especially when the reindeer points came in, and they said, "Oh, someone scored." Someone, I said, "Oh, yeah, Spurs have scored." I went, "Johnson." He went, "Yeah, Johnson. How did you know?" I said, "It's written in the stars." We had a great crack. Two good lads, 2 new subscribers. So big shout out to you boys, because I know you're on board now. Thank you for the hospo, really. And I got very, very, very drunk. Very, very drunk. I knew it was probably time. It probably started about 1 in the afternoon. I think it was about 11:30. The band had fired up, and foolishly they allowed me to go up and sing a song with them. It was time to go home at that point. Home been basically upstairs, thank God. Hell of a hangover yesterday, by the way. Um, that's it. Waffle, waffle, waffle. It's been a really good weekend. I've had a shitload of fun. Just painfully, just a couple of things, and it could be 80 points instead of 664 as it is at the moment. And as I say, that team is just that 11 is just looking at an average of 53 at the moment without captaincy, which at the end of the day it's not awful. It's not awful, and hopefully, as I am on 64 with the bench boost and the captain's points, maybe I might come on Tarkowski. Give me a goal, give me a clean sheet, anything. Just a clean sheet gets me 70. I'll be so happy just to scrape the 70. But I had been hoping for a little bit of a buffer, and ain't happening. Right, let's talk about something I find very interesting. Now, I've not developed my watch list as such yet, but one of the reasons I'm going to, I'm free hitting 2, should play through 3, and as you can see, 3 there doesn't actually look too bad, does it? Three there, I think, and maybe a transfer. I think 3 looks pretty good. So we'll play through that, maybe with a transfer, before I make decisions on whether I wildcard in 4 or 5. And it's all about, one, trying to get in my head of my 70-point average, give myself a little bit of a buffer, as I always say, keep reminding, 70 points will get you a top 5,000 finish. Certainly a top 10,000. Might be a little bit different this year, but I still think it'll scrape that sort of top 5,000 finish. So just try and hang on to that until I actually do wildcard, until I've seen the patterns and I've got the data, and I can see those averages build into the spreadsheet, and put a team together that looks as though it should fundamentally get me close, or ideally above that, on a week by week basis. Right, let's get this one out of there for now. We're just going to have a little look at this watch list I'm developing. So all I put in there at the moment, try and explain this, how this looks. Focusing a little bit on the old DEFCON. Let's put the 2 up together, actually. I think we can squeeze those up there fairly tidily. Okay, hopefully that's nice and clear for you lot. Just a little bit larger. Some young Charles shouting outside. Okay. So this is the watch list. I've got most. I'm probably missing 1 or 2. My watch list will be a mix. I've only got the DEFCONs in there at the moment. I may come back to this a little later on the week as I build in other people into these watch lists. But I just thought I'd focus on DEFCON for a minute. and I'll build other players that are going to be on my watch list going forward, towards who I might wildcard into in 4 or 5. Um, so that's the defenders that I think I've got most of the ones that actually got DEFCON points. Um, I'll actually have the DEFCON highlighted there, and that's what a silvery color, so it stands out, and other players will be just in black as I start to build them into this. So we can see the DEFCON ones standing out, because what I'm clearly going to be looking for is those budget enablers. Um, so who in the defenders at the moment stands out there for me? Well, I'd say Lacroix, definitely. 5 million cost, and he's coming with 8 in a red fixture. You know, let's not underestimate Palace. They're good. They're solid. So that really stands out to me in these early days. So it'll be interesting to see how they go with their averages. So you can see him, he's got 8 points, so he's on an average of 8. But if we can find in the defenders, like I say, I want that average of 5 out of my defense. So if we can find that nice, Matty Cash there, 4.5, 8 points in a blue fixture, with a relatively hard fixture. So that's an absolute standout. If we find that Cash is coming away with 4 points, 5 points, then the odd clean sheet, and he's getting to those sort of numbers, an average, just the average of 5. But I need to obviously see it across 3 to 4 games before I wildcard any of these guys in. But yeah, something like a Cash. Yoro, I think Yoro's is definitely promising. I thought he played quite well, very well, to be honest with you. Just 4.5, just the 3 points. Um, but even so, that's not awful. Mitchell obviously there at 5 million, 9 points, red fixture. So this is just to give you guys a feel of how I'm going to be building this out. Then obviously we can see the fixtures going ahead. But if you can find some of these guys that are, obviously returning in the red fixtures, just coming in with sort of, maybe 3, 4 points, but keeping the clean sheets as well. It's all about the averages. All about the averages. And then just again briefly, and there's not enough data in here yet to make any final conclusions. But I think we're going to start to get a picture fairly quickly within sort of 3 to 4 game weeks. That picture will develop. I think it's going to be really valuable to us. So hopefully this is useful for you guys as well. So I wanted to focus on this. Took me a little while to pull it together. So hopefully it is something that take a screenshot is what I'm saying, and I will literally update this on a weekly basis, and it might steer us in the right direction early to get ahead of the field, as a template will develop, as it surely will. And the template will have some of these guys in, because some of these guys will be ones that enable you. Anderson for Forest didn't quite make his DEFCON. He is absolutely someone to have a look at. He only just missed it. And he obviously, as I said, it was very, very tight call between Anderson and Reindeers for me. And he only finished just behind Reindeers. He got his assist, clean sheet, etc., etc. So didn't make the DEFCON, but he'll absolutely be on my watch list. 5.5 for Anderson, 5.5 for Rangers. If they show consistency, what amazing enablers they will be. If we do, for me, if I do want to go and get Salah, or if I do want to go and get Salah and Haaland, I don't know yet. I'll only know by game week 4 or 5 when I sort of start to have the watch list built out, and then sort of build them into the main spreadsheet to show me a team that's consistently achieving that 70 points, I hope, with good fixtures going out. Quick look at the midfielders. Yeah, so interestingly enough, only one there in a green fixture that actually got DEFCON, which is Caicedo. So it'll be interesting to keep, 5.5. Honestly, at 5.5, if he does that week in, week out and gets 5 points, and we don't think of Chelsea, so he should hopefully, they'll keep a few clean sheets. So 5 on a green fixture. But interestingly, the other ones that achieved it all achieved it on difficult fixtures, and some of those players that achieved that 4 points, they took absolute hammerings. They actually, they were, they conceded 3 or 4 goals. So that's interesting that most of the midfielders that did achieve it, it was absolutely achieved in in red or blue fixtures, apart from Caicedo. So again, Let's not read too much into this too early. It's too early. It will be interesting to see how this spreadsheet develops out over the next, game weeks 2, 3, and 4 before a wild card. Leave it at that. Again, take a screenshot or digest it in your own time. And as I say, I'll build out the my watch list more fully than this, but I just want to make sure that we have the DEF CON monsters highlighted, and I'll highlight those in silver, and then others that I get added into this will just be the normal black, etc. That's it. Did all that make sense? I hope so. I hope so. I've got a terrible hangover. It's very 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 tricky having a bar downstairs. Um, and then and I'll build out an attack watch list as well. At the moment, the ones I'll be taking a look at be Haaland, obviously, Watkins. Hope Watkins' price goes down. Watkins is still very much on my watch. I said one of the reasons I didn't bring him in is he's usually just slow starter, doesn't usually get anything on the first day of the season. He didn't. Watkins is a class act. He's got decent fixtures going out. They get really good, I think, from about game week 2 or 3. So he'd be absolutely on my watch list. And because I do think he will start scoring goals regularly. Watch this space. I think his first one will come this weekend. Mateta didn't go so well. Gyökeres didn't have the greatest full debut. And Wood. Oh, Wood. What do you have from New Zealand? Why don't I just pick him, for fuck's sake? Seriously. Anyway, let's keep an eye. We're looking for those 3 returns in 5. DEF CON monsters. Players at the right sort of price that are averaging, that 5 points in defence, 6 points in midfield, 7 points up front. Get that going as an average across your team. And it's really happy days. Right, what else? Let's have a look. Do you want to have a little look at my... What haven't I done here? What have I done? Okay, we'll move those out. Right, this is... so, yeah, as I said, it was always my tactic. I wavered a little bit when it looked like I might have a mega week. But, oh, hang on, or maybe I'll just hang on to it, just if I have got myself well above the 70. I haven't. I might scrape the 70. I suspect probably. I think Leeds are going to get a goal, so I suspect I'm just going to finish just a tad outside, tad under the 70 average, which isn't a disaster. But I did decide to. So I literally did this last night, lying in bed. So this is just a first draft of my free hit team. Very open to suggestions if anyone thinks there's anyone else I should consider in here. So this is very, very first run at it, and I'd had a few pints of me when I did it, so not really fully digested it myself, to be honest with you. But this will be played with. But one of the reasons was when I was actually listening to I can't remember who it was. Just when I was like this. One of the content providers, they mentioned, oh yeah, there'll be price changes coming in tonight. Now, for some reason in my head, I thought they didn't price changes didn't kick in until the game week was fully over. I have no idea whether some of the players I'll be interested in will be affected by price drops, price changes, etc., etc. Price rises obviously being the main one. I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to do the free hit. It was always the plan. Stick with the plan. So this is a first run at it, and I will be very, very open to... Let's click this out here so we can make this nice and large, because I can barely see on this little screen. Right, straight away. I'm not too sure about my goalkeeper choice. We'll have a look at that. Dorgu, yeah, I thought Dorgu looked pretty good. Hit the post, and had an assist. Well, was close to an assist. Liking the ways to... I did like Cunha yesterday. It's just such a shame we didn't get something out of that game. They look really, really class at times. At least United are going to be a bit more entertaining to watch this year. Dorgu's looking good. He's looking dangerous. He's getting in some good deliveries. He's prepared to have a shot. Yeah, I think he's my punt. He's a little punt. This one against Fulham away. United are going to go out and play crap, aren't they? Of course they are. Anyway, I think he'll be in. I've got Gabriel in there now for obviously for that fixture. I think there's a good chance, obviously, of the clean sheet against Leeds. Saliba did get DEF CON points. whereas Gabriel didn't even come close to it. Um, so I could go either way on that, but what do I really think either of them will get DEFCON against Leeds? Not really, and I think Gabriel against potentially a Leeds defence adjusting to life in the Premier League. Sorry, I should say Leeds Burnley. Um, I think I think we could be. I think that right. Hang on. No, no, it is Leeds. Sorry, guys. Um, could be susceptible to those set pieces, Saka and Rice in swingers getting that onto Gabriel's head. So I think that's where I'll go with that. And there is no safe clean sheet. You've got to think there's a better than average chance there. And who else? I have to keep enlarging this so I can actually see. Yeah, I think a little bit of the Everton defence. I've already got Tarkowski, so I think I'll go with Tarkowski again for the same reasons. I always think he's going to be a threat from set piece, and you always think Everton at Goodison, decent chance of a clean sheet. I'll make a judgment on that after I've seen the game this evening. Of course, that could all change. This is not chasing point. Well, it is chasing points, isn't it? But I've got to go for Semenyo, haven't I? Got to go for Semenyo after that. And he had more shots last year inside the penalty box than any other Premier League player. He missed a lot as well. He does tend to do well against the big boys. So is this going to be one where against a Wolves team that do look pretty ragged, Um, I've got to go for him. I've got to go for him, haven't you? It's the fixture play. Palmer, you are on your last chance. Seriously, you are absolutely on your last chance. Rangers, yeah, absolutely. Hard to know, and Spurs can pull off the occasion surprise at City, but quite often they can be quite high scoring games. Um, I think under Thomas Frank, I think Spurs are quite a bit more defensively resilient. But Postecoglou knew how to set out a defence sometime when he decided to. So you saw it a few times. We saw it, last year at City, where they did very well. But yeah, the Rangers got to be in, isn't he, after that performance? Saka, same reasons. Leeds absolutely targeting the fixture. Haaland will come in for this one. Haaland, I'm going to say, one, it protects me a little bit. And it'd be nice to get a little bit of Haaland action. I don't know whether it'll make a wildcard team in 3 or 4 game weeks. He may well do. That's a story for another day when we do that wildcard. Evan Nielsen, yeah, I'm thinking about that one. But again, targeting that fixture, and Bournemouth do look like they can score goals. They also look like they can, which is why I haven't got a Bournemouth defence. They also look like they're going to concede a shitload. And Gyökeres. Yeah, I think the narrative is written for his home debut. So I could easily see him doing really, really well in that fixture, because obviously Arsenal will be getting a lot more dangerous balls in and around that box, and he is a poacher. The guy is a poacher, but he needs to be in and around that goal. And in that sort of game, with lots of deliveries coming in, lots of balls getting slipped through, I could see him doing it. I can see him hauling. He's an outside differential captaincy pick for me. And the bench is the bench, nothing on there. So only thing as I've read through that, the only thing I'm really largely don't like, I think, is the keeper choice. But I'd have to squeeze someone down somewhere. And I'm not sure how easy that will be to do. It would have to be Palmer, but am I falling into the Palmer trap again if I just took him out for someone? There's a whole lot of wonderful things I could do there. Certainly with the goalkeeper. Could potentially raise Dorgu up to someone. I'll have a think about that one. The first draft, it's there or thereabouts, I think. It's there or thereabouts, I think. So other than that, folks, I'll leave it at that. Last game week tonight. Fingers crossed I hit the 70. 64, so it's likely to be 66 or 67, I think, or something. I don't know. Maybe some DEFCON points. I don't know. We won't be a million miles. So I'm not going to be hugely disappointed, I guess. Just a little bit disappointed, not obviously to get up towards that 80. But speaking of getting up towards that 80, I will be doing the FPL Don't Panic League review and present the Bishop Brennan Cup If not tomorrow, certainly I'd say by Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do a final wash up of the game week, obviously, but it'll be mainly about the Bishop Brennan Cup. And we've got some really good scores in there this week. We've got some of you boys, and there's still a few more points to come in. We've got quite a few of you. We've got a decent number of you that look as though they'll be nicely in the 70 club. Hopefully, I can join you. But there is, unless there is a miracle of incredible proportions, I think we have a very, very clear winner of the Bishop Brennan Cup this week. And it's an absolutely magnificent score. And I had a look at your team, mate. I'm going to say who the winner is. Some really, really ballsy calls in there. One of them, I'm so jealous. I nearly went there, and I didn't. I didn't have the balls to do it. An absolute game maker for you. Really, really brilliant call. We'll get to that on Thursday. In the meantime, listen, I know, like I said earlier, I know there's been some disappointing scores out there, but honestly, it's the first game week, guys. It is the first game week. And if you go around, I think, as crazy as I think I might be one of the leading point scorers amongst all the content creators this week. Even taking out my failed bench boost, even if you just took the 53 and whatever, whatever I get tonight, if, there's some absolutely mental scores out there. I've seen one guy, yeah, as I said, FPL Harry, who I really like, and he'll still finish in the top 5,000. He's in the low 40s, I think. FPL D Unit, he's a poor guy, and I really like him. He's a great crack, and yeah, didn't go so well for him. All his 50-50 calls just went down the drain, and I haven't seen too many with big scores. So I really, really wouldn't worry about it at this stage. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And I know I tend to try and sprint at the beginning and quite often fail, but that's my style. That's what I do. I like to take those couple of swings in the first few game weeks. It is really, really early days. I've had a look at even some of the lower scoring teams. Shane, my mate Shane, who was at the bottom of the FPL Don't Panic league this week with about 30 points. But if you look at his team, it's like, how? It is just one of those weeks, and next week it could go completely the other way, and you can end up with a 70, 80, 90, 100. So have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I'll see you in a couple of days' time. See you soon. Bye bye.